Okay, great. So
Super.
let's start. Do you want to kick off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome all then, and sorry for the hiccup with the change of a video URL, but we're happy that you are here. And myself here, Joakim, and Raj will be your entertainers today. So I'm based in Stockholm. The word is global, but I'm based in Stockholm. So that's me. And if we move into next slide, I will just very shortly tell that I started a company called PAXIA a year ago. After being this year, I've been 38 years in the industry. And I would like to help customers, mainly enterprise customers, because that's my segment that I've been working for the past 25 years with the largest brands you could think of here in the Nordics, just to help them to do, great transformation initiatives with the open source and Postgres as the foundation. So basically, that is what I do. And I have found a friend and a partner that I work very tight with, and that is CYBERTEC, that can help me to provide everything I need within Postgres, actually, what I can think of at least. So I do this webinar, but I will continue to do webinars during the autumn here regarding security, but also a few other areas of interest. But that's the purpose today, to give you a glimpse into the PCI DSS standard. So I hand over next slide to you, Raj.
Thank you very much. So again, going back to the first slide, my name is Raj. I work for CYBERTEC. I've been working in the database industry for about 20 years. And I just make sure stuff works at CYBERTEC. That's what I do here. Moving on. This is a little bit about CYBERTEC's map over the globe. We recently opened in India. So we started our support operations in India as well. And those are some of the places that we operate from, or we have presence in. So coming to the PCI DSS compliance today's session, the idea is we wanted to make sure we present information that's available in Postgres community, and we present information to you guys to add some value, because it's a belief in the market that closed source is the only software or only vendors that can actually help you be compliant. And PCI DSS compliance is super difficult to achieve. Now, what exactly is PCI DSS compliant? I hope many of you are already aware of it, but if you're not, you can imagine this like, if some of your friends give you a treasure chest full of money or candies or whatever, and you have to take care of it, secure it. That's exactly what this is, except it's for credit card or cards and payments information data. So in this situation, you'd have to secure card information, credit card information for the customers. PCI compliance has different kind of levels, so as to say, and depending upon which level your organization belongs to, or the way you process customer transactions or card information, it changes the amount of compliances that you'd have to regulate or you'd have to comply to. Now, why does this really matter? Again, establishing customer trust is a mandatory thing when you're dealing with businesses who deal with PCI compliance data. There are traditional solutions available, which are complicated, complex, and most importantly, they're not cost effective. They do come with a lot of cost. And that's one of the core reasons if we could offer as an open source community a way for you to reduce that cost and to be able to establish the confidence and trust in the open source market that you can achieve PCI and DSS with open source as well. That's the entire intent of doing this session. We will try to cover strategic aspects, business aspects of PCI DSS, how you can streamline this with seamless and effective strategies, and how you can achieve it, and what role can CYBERTEC play or our partners play in order for your businesses to achieve this compliance. As I said, there are different levels of you know, importance in terms of compliances. And then depending upon your level and the transactions that you process, you would have to take care of the granularities of the compliance that you have to comply to. Uh, what we'll do is at the end of the session, I will try to skip through some slides or fasten through the slides as we have limited time, and try to open this forum for more questions or feedback or suggestions, or there's something that you're stuck with, so that we can add more value to this session, to this webinar. And if need be, if you need a one-on-one dedicated session with our consultants or technical experts, we can also set that up. Now, some of the key requirements of PCI DSS compliance, majorly it's network security, encryption, the way you transport your data over network, and updates. So those are some of the things that you would have to mandatorily do when you're dealing with compliances, and depending upon the level that you belong to. Now, again, what I've done is I've prepared a checklist of a sort, which is like a cheat sheet for you with the controls. And how do you achieve that when you're dealing with open source software, specifically Postgres? And how does Postgres allow you to achieve compliances? So let's take a look at them one by one. Network security. These are a couple of controls that I've mentioned. And I will also try to share this checklist for starters. If you're beginning with compliance, or if you're into compliance, we can talk again in granular details later in the upcoming sessions as to how do you do those granular compliances. So these are some of the requirements: the content intent, or the control intent. And when I say control, it's basically a requirement by the compliance which you have to fulfill. So how do we achieve these through Postgres? We do offer SSL out of the box, vanilla, in Postgres. And so if you go to the community documentation, you can read a bit about it. I don't want to cover how SSL works. Basically, certificate, server cert, and certificate authority signs it, and the authentication happens there through SSL. That capability is present, so you can check those boxes for SSL security. Now, there are multiple levels of SSL security that Postgres provides, because at times there is man-in-the-middle attack, eavesdropping that you want to cover, limiting IP addresses. It's one of the controls that's super important in PCI, and the authentication method that you're dealing with. So these are some of the basic methods that are also listed on Postgres community website, official website, as to what different levels you want, what you want to comply with, and how you can achieve it. And depending upon the granularity of it, security versus performance. So there is a bit of an overhead when you choose between these levels. And yeah. So encryption and storage, that was one of the control requirements for PCI DSS. How do we achieve that? Again, this is something which you could do at instance level, DB level, and schema level, row level, depending upon what you're using. Vanilla out of the box, there are certain features which are not available. We do have a product called PGEE, Postgres Enterprise Edition, that does ship by default with data encryption, and that allows you to encrypt data at rest. There are other extensions available. In our package software, we do package these together so that it's not a pain for you, and you have a standardized approach of software deployment in your environment. So when you are deploying PGEE, you would already know that, you know, these bells and whistles are there out of the box, and you don't have to worry about customizing it, or configuration management is not a pain in that case. Now, Postgres Enterprise Edition does ship with some of the key features, and we would, Joakim, as we discussed, would like to have a detailed tech talk on PGEE. One of our core developers, Christoph, who is working with the engine team and doing the development on PGEE, can talk a little bit more in detail about what are those really good bells and whistles that can allow us to achieve compliance through our product. So permissions, yes. That's one of the things in my last organization, which I was working with. They had a presence of about 1,800 to 2,000 stores across the United States of America. And just to bring back the story for this organization, we were able to save about $6 to $7 million just in the license cost, and we were able to comply. And this was a retail giant. So they were dealing with customer data, customer payments, card information day in, day out. And these are some of the things that Postgres allowed them to achieve when they wanted to comply with the industry standards. And this is one of the giants in the United States of America. So you could standardize these permissions when it comes to permission. A pain point for organizations are that, how do I standardize? How do I know every single time there are changes or new deployments, the same level of privileges are taken into account? We don't have to really micromanage it, which happens to some of the extensions that I'm going to show in the next slides. Now, access control and authentication, that's also some of the controls that are required by PCI. And Postgres does provide out of the box these capabilities for you to check those control boxes. Log protection and security. I'm not going to talk about Wazoo in detail, but this is one of the softwares that is being used by many organizations for incident response monitoring. This is fully open source, super powerful tool. You can plug and play this with any tooling available out there, or we also provide Scale Field Secure as a platform where you can plug in any other SIEM tool to be able to effectively monitor and take actions on any incidents that happen as a part of auditing practice or logging for your Postgres environment. Now, let's talk a little bit about alter default privileges. This is what I was talking about in the previous slides when I said, how do you make it a standard? So when businesses are dealing with compliances, let's assume you do a startup, and in this startup, you start with a design methodology or architecture. Hey, you know what? We're not going to process cards or customer payments. And then all of a sudden, you have to, because you make strategic business changes, and then you decide, hey, we're going to sell something. And for selling this, we would either need to touch customer information, card information somehow. And because you're doing that, you would have to comply. And as a part of that, that granularity demands standardization of privileges. So you can do a real world privilege set for your organization, and you can standardize those default privileges using alter default privileges. That's super useful. Many organizations are using it, and it's definitely, it's one of those things that helps you standardize. Even if there are changes, you could make those changes seamlessly to your configuration tooling and have automation on top of that, where you would audit the changes and it will get triggered, and the incident response platform will actually allow you to find out what needs remediation in terms of if this is not compliant. You might have seen your security teams reach out to you with an Excel sheet saying, hey, this is the audit trail for this quarter, and these are the remediation required because we saw some accounts have privileged access for certain items or tables or databases that they're not supposed to. That's how the entire end-to-end picture looks like when you're auditing those. Security and updates. One of the most important aspects of any software delivery system or lifecycle is when you gauge into a contract, it's easily understandable to have regular updates and patches through that vendor. But how do you deal with this when it comes to Postgres? Postgres community does offer a very streamlined roadmap out of the box, vanilla, the community version, which helps you take care of the updates, upgrades, etc. But I'm pretty sure you guys have a roadmap in your organization where you're not on the latest version as it releases. You would have a life cycle in order to control if there are any bugs or any issues. But the good news is Postgres does have a regular patching cycle every quarterly. They do security updates and minor releases. And if you just go to postgres.org, down at the bottom right corner, you would see why upgrade. And if you click on that, it will also show you the roadmap of Postgres community as to when the next minor releases are and what kind of CVE fixes does it contain. So that's seriously important for business decisions, strategic decisions, or making sure next audit doesn't fail. Because when it fails, it's going to have a lot of cost involved to it and trust breaks. So auditing. In this particular section, there are all kinds of extensions available. for you to leverage them for audit trails. And these are some of the controls that you should enforce in order to check those boxes. PG audit is one of those where you can log data. Then we have PG permissions. I can personally vouch for this. We were using this for about 6,000 production clusters at scale, and auditing was seamless because we were combining this with our Chef configuration tooling with the cookbooks that were kind of fulfilling the need of auditing or changes that we need to audit. So if you have a real world scenario where you have some rule set that you want to achieve, that these are the permissions by default for these roles that should align with our PCI DSS controls, then this is something that would really help you audit things at scale. It's just that you have to combine it with certain platforms. And as I said, we got Scalefield Secure, which we'll be talking in a couple of next webinars, where we want to give you a deep dive into Scalefield Secure, how this really plugs in and out information through different database platforms, not just Postgres. So these are some of the points which are important for auditing Postgres. And yes, these controls can line up nicely with PCI DSS controls and can be fulfilled. Now, CYBERTEC audit. This is something proprietary and internal. And we have built-in feature where we have a background worker that collects information. It's not mentioned clearly, but there's a point where network transfer, transparent. What that means is we could make the audit trail part of the vault segment and have the audit information in there. And when you're transferring that information using a replication slot, it would be very transparent. What that means is it's not visible to the customer or the user, and you could still transfer audit trails using this proprietary method that we built into CYBERTEC audit, and that is shipped with PGEE, the Postgres Enterprise Edition, that helps you kind of scale auditing and ship logs with security. So that's something that I already talked about. Again, high availability is one of those features that is super important, business critical, and high availability, you can achieve high availability with Petroni, so as to say. And it works pretty seamlessly in my experience. We've used it, again, for previous organization, current organization. We're using it for big railway systems in Europe, stockbroking companies. Can't name the customers, but it has worked out nicely for them. Again, we have products where we integrate this with Lakehouse, and that was also some of the use cases that we entertained through our customization. The good thing is when you're stuck, open source has a mentality of coming together and helping you out. If you have a contract, if you don't have a contract, doesn't matter. We care about providing solutions. That's more important. And that's the idea of open source, and that's some of the core values that we support here at CYBERTEC as well. Now, deploying secure code, what does this mean? You do get at your disposal, you have our development team who can help you out whenever there are issues. You don't have to really depend on just the community patching. We do have use cases where customers report bugs and issues, and we patch those for them. And this is specifically PGEE version only, because that's something that we maintain, and we could patch it quickly and help you out with if there are any issues or bugs. Glimpse of the Scalefield Secure platform. Again, keep your eyes peeled for this particular webinar. This is going to be happening to introduce you to our new platform, which is Scalefield Secure, which deals with how you can put in different database systems already there in your organization into our compliance, audit, and monitoring system. The idea is we have 2 to 3 different components sitting here. One is a secure gather. What does it do in compliance language? It acts like a decoder and can understand different audit log language from different platforms. It can consume that, send it over to the Scalefield Secure engine, where all the processing happens. And at the end of the day, this audit information can then be placed by something that you can control. So you don't have to depend on the vendor software. And how do you control it? You could put this back into a Postgres database, and again, have different kind of encryptions there, and then seamlessly send it over to your observability stack. What does that mean? You can use Prometheus, Grafana, CyPEX for that matter, and visualize it and make a seamless system out of that. So this gives you or helps your business move out of proprietary vendor locked-in softwares, specifically Oracle or MS SQL, where you're using, let's say, Guardium. And we do have a use case of Guardium where we're doing this at scale, where people had hardcore dependency on Guardium and they wanted to move out of it because they were really, really frustrated with the amount of costs involved for doing audits for Oracle. So this platform kind of helps you plug and play the audit and then also move alongside to transfer or switch over from your current vendor license-based software to free software. And that saves millions of bucks.
This will be, or this will be, this is a great value prop for I mean, especially enterprise companies with huge amount of the database assets in the house. So this will save big money.
Absolutely. And one more thing that I wanted to talk about here is that most of the stack here built in is open source. So in any ways, any company that supports open source, we are of the methodology that we don't want to lock anybody up. We want to give you the flexibility, but also make sure that you can secure your environment and comply and then run your business smoothly. So more on that in a couple of next webinars that we're going to do with Joakim. And there's some business value proposition slide that I've put in here. You can go through it. We'll be sharing the details. I would make sure that we share the cheat sheet, or so as to say control methodology, how you can actually align with these controls, how you can achieve those controls, and you can put the business value in front of the leadership, for example. If you're already having those conversations in your company, is Postgres capable? Can we achieve compliance here or not? All those questions can be answered with the practical data that we have. So yeah, the end of the day, the idea is to make sure everybody gets to use software for free, and we can make it happen.
And I want to just remind you guys that I mean, that if you're interested to talk further about this and learn more, or depending on where you are on the journey, we provide training in this area. Could be standard or customized, and then for sure, you know, workshop combined with any efforts that we need to do in your environment. So just wanted to highlight that we want to support anyone that is embarking this journey or thinking of using Postgres and open source for this context or for this type of use cases. To move next to the next one, that is that we will continue with the series around this content and this topic. So we see this as a compliance as a service with the solution that I would say, you said, Raj, you said that, you know, it's open source and it's free software. But what CYBERTEC does very good here is that you make it easy. You know, so it's in my world, this is a tier 1 solution, but it's not a tier 1 cost. So it's a fraction of the cost what people is paying today within enterprises I'm aware of, and therefore we're going to continue to make awareness during the autumn here how this can help customers, independent of the payment industry, but overall the compliance and audit area.
Yeah, and one of the use cases there that I was talking about for Scalefield Secure is one of the largest banks in African continents, and that's at scale. So they're moving away from paid software and vendor locked-in proprietary software over to Postgres and this custom solution, and they're pretty damn happy about it.
And for me, it was also linked to this discussion. I mean, everything is about data. So, we handle data for all kind of use cases, and then security on top on it. But for me, also the announcement of the Lakehouse solution from CYBERTEC, again, open source components, but it's put together and made easy with a product solution called CYBERTEC Lakehouse, which also will be a component that can be used in these scenarios that we talked about today. So I want to have a webinar around this as well during the autumn here. So that's why I put it there too.
Great. So we're open for questions, and we'd like to actually have ideas or roadblocks that you're facing in your organization, so we can, if not in this session, we can get back to you with the ideas or workarounds or solutions for those, and that really helps us understand what business problems people are facing in order to achieve proper compliance in their company. So, all over to our guests.
Raj, I have a quick question. I'm talking about one of the Indian banks whom I had worked with very closely for their DCDR switchover.
Mhm.
So they were using Ansible, and Postgres was their database for Ansible for the DCDR switchover, and they were using Community Postgres for their customer analytics. I mean, they were trying to do, if I recall the use case very clearly, they were fetching the data from the customer transactions, which is very um, all the customer transactions which are happening on their cards, the credit card side, okay, and bringing the debit card of the same customer together and trying to build a pattern. And then there was an analytics team at the hem of it who were trying to bring these two data together, put patterns together, and try to figure out offers, uh, try to figure out what can be upsold to the customer. Now, in this case, are we saying that the PCI DSS capability that the CyberTech Enterprise Edition has is good enough for even for this use case?
Well, again, it depends, and I have a feeling that you're talking about artificial intelligence trying to predict the patterns. Is that what you're doing,
No, no,
or
no, 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 no.
it's
They're not trying to do. They're not trying to do AI. They're trying to do just simply bringing the credit card data and the
Mhm,
debit card data of the same customer and
mhm,
try to just pick up patterns. That okay, this is a frequent, the young guy, frequent shopper on the digital
mhm,
side, or he's a little older guy, spends only on insurance and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're
mhm,
trying to build those blocks of
yeah,
segments of customer,
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
may say, which
I
the marketing consumes ahead.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Raj, I can top in there. So the short answer is yes, because this would be a combination with the security function that we talk about here, but also in combination with the new Lakehouse, which of course is Postgres Foundation. But there you have the capabilities to do this kind of
data yeah,
yeah,
you can do that.
data
That's
crunching
such
and find yeah, whatever, not whatever, but you find the patterns and unusual the things that you're searching for. But absolutely, I would say with Lakehouse, with that component in this kind of solution, that would be a great discussion with you guys.
absolutely.
Very well, very well. Thanks for answering the question.
And let's of course, we're happy for any interest and have a more deeper follow-up and meeting the needs or the use cases that you see. So that would be fantastic to do a follow-up call with you.
Or if somebody wants to share their success story, maybe somebody joined in the beginning. Yerfin was sharing something. If you'd like to share, feel free to share as well. If you've had a success story with open source, and that would really help as well.
Even Veselin as well.
Yes.
Actually, like I have a question. Like, so currently, like we are using Postgres from a cloud provider. Like we are not managing the Postgres. So the idea is behind here is like if we are hosting the enterprise edition or community edition Postgres on our own, and taking care of all the PCI compliance and security related things on our own. Is that the idea behind this meeting? Or so we can
Yeah,
gather.
the idea is when you do this vanilla, there are things for which you would have to depend dedicatedly on the patch releases, and there are things where dynamic plug in, plug out that we have to still do on your own. We kind of remove that and we give it as a package in PGEE. And the idea behind this presentation is, of course, because you're already using Postgres, you do know the capabilities, and Postgres can achieve compliance. So the idea was to make sure everybody also understands that it's doable with open source and Postgres specifically. You don't have to depend just on other cost-based or license-based vendors to achieve PCI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what about the CYBERTEC Lakehouse? Like,
yes, of course. What would you do you have a business case where you'd like to plug that in? Because we have certain customers.
Like I saw something like, so we have combined every database in a single, like you have showed some screen, right?
Yes, that was Scalefield Secure, so I can go back to that screen 1 second. So imagine you have an environment where you have different, and this is a very business use case environment where you have Oracle, you have MS SQL, you have Postgres, and you have other databases. So this Scalefield Secure functionality, what does it do is it actually allows you to plug in our gather, and this comes in and just as a YAML file. It's as simple as a YAML file. It's that seamless. Okay. You can deploy this on cloud, your environment, or you're having a private cloud, whichever way you want. You have a Kubernetes cluster, yes, go ahead. And this would allow you to plug in that functionality of gathering audits and making sure you also get vulnerability information and monitor as well as do incident response on top of that. So it's an entire stack which we give you to plug in to any database systems that you have in your company to be able to achieve compliance across platform.
And I also can I just add one thing here? We don't have the I know we don't have that picture in the slide deck here, but Scalefield has become a kind of all solutions from CYBERTEC is managed more and more. I would say it's put into Scalefield. So you have the Lakehouse that is managed by Scalefield as well. It's originally a provisioning platform, but the security solution goes in here. The Lakehouse solution goes in here. The migration solution from Oracle, the leading migration solution on the market, going from Oracle to Postgres is here, and so on. So whatever solutions that you might or want to use could very much be found or used with Scalefield, but it could be run separately as unique components as well. But the meaning here is to make life easy to get going and scale easy at a low cost, and Scalefield is proving the way to do that.
Also, just to add to that, one bit is this picture doesn't do justification to the amount of things Scalefield Secure can do. So you also have the capability to engage CYBERTEC directly when you have this platform, because it also allows you to open tickets, bugs, and development issues with us through that platform. So when you're utilizing that, we can also plug you in to our platform depending upon what kind of service you want, and you can directly open issues and raise requests from this platform for any kind of issues that you face after the deployment even. So that kind of eases the pain of how do I know or how do I do this? So there's back and forth between the customer and us. And we come into picture where we just don't give you this. We also give you the flexibility and openness to interact with us seamlessly, and we can answer your questions there. Like basic ticketing system, so as to say.
And in this here, if we go back to the question around finding sorry, who did we talk with? Sorry for that.
It was Yerfin, I believe. Yerfin.
Around the lake house and combining different data sources and find patterns in data. Was that Yerfin?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Yerfin. So anyway, you also have in this in Scalefield, you also have a low-code development tool that is called CYBEX, made by CYBERTEC. But that's also a tool where you can do this kind of intelligent request. Question and search in the data with that tool that is baked into Scalefield as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is it kind of like, if, for example, like if we will have our databases in different networks and everything, right? So how like, is that a centralized dashboard to access things? Is there do we need to make sure that all database should able to be in this should be in the same network, or it can be in different network for integration and everything?
I believe that's a twofold problem. If you have networks which are air-gapped, then it's a different situation, And I know there are customers who have, because of compliance reasons, they can only connect during the time they want to update. And apart from that, they cannot. So that's the feasibility of that reduces again there. But
very much the banking industry, but others
yes.
as well. But for me, very much banking industry.
Yes. So it's feasible, of course, but then again, it depends on the granularities and the kind of network segmentations you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there support for ClickHouse database as well?
At the moment, we can help you with the best effort for that as well. So yes.
Okay. So it's so we need to, if we want to have a demo or something like. Is there anything like?
Here is what I will do, Yerfin. The Lakehouse solution was, I'm thinking of the Lakehouse solution was launched in June, and again, it was launched in June, but it's well-proven open source components. So the magic is that CYBERTEC has made it easy. That was a brilliant demo with different use cases. Actually, one that you were talking about. So we will send you that one. I will send you that one. So it was the launch of Lakehouse.
And Yerfin, it doesn't stop you from exploring that area with us. You could we can simply set up a one-on-one with one of our consultants, and we can see what kind of customization you're looking for. And we can always help you out because you're already a Postgres user. And if there is something that can add value to your business, our community in general, why not?
Yeah, sure.
So.
I'll send you an email, Yerfin, and let's take it from there.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Well, I think we're ahead of time. And if there are no other questions, I will stop the recording here. And I want to thank everybody for giving time and joining us. Stay tuned for the next ones. And I would love to hear some of the topics that you would like us to talk on, explore, some deep dives. That would be really, really important for us to kind of understand what we can share more with the community, with our customers and partners.
Absolutely.
Super important.
Yeah, I agree. So
Super.
thank you very much for joining. You will have the recording from us, and we started the conversation here. But for anyone else that is wondering,